10 famous foods discovered by mistake. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello, Aluxers. We've got an interesting one for you today. We know how some of you are considering starting a business and might need some inspiration. So in this Alux.com original video, we're going to be taking a look at 10 famous foods discovered by mistake. Who knows? Maybe one of these will spark an interesting idea and you're going to end up changing the world. Number 1. Ice cream cone. When? 1904. Who? Ernest Hamwi. How? The ice cream cone became popular when, in 1904, at the St. Louis World's Fair, a lot of ice cream was sold in dishes. When a vendor was left with no dishes available, Hamwi offered to roll up some waffles in a cone so the ice cream could be held inside. Wasn't that smart? Now the ice cream cone is probably the most loved part of the ice cream itself. Number 2. Cornflakes. When? Late 1890s. Who? Will and John Kellogg. How? Experimenting with different foods to find items that would work well, the Kellogg brothers invented one of the most famous breakfasts. Wanting to produce granola for the vegetarian patients as a healthy treat, Will and John Kellogg accidentally produced a batch of flaked wheat. They let it stale before they processed it through rollers and served the hard flaked wheat to patients. And then there you go, cornflakes. Number 3. Tarte tatin. When? 1880s. Who? Stephanie Tatin. How? We're in France in the late 1880s, and the owner of the Tatin Hotel, Stephanie Tatin, along with her sister Caroline, are keeping themselves busy by cooking. The story is not 100% certain, but it seems like Stephanie didn't pay attention while making an apple tart and overbaked the apples. She figured out that she could add the pastry base to the top in an attempt to save the fruits. At the end, she flipped over the tart and voila, the first tarte tatin. The tart became pretty famous, as you probably know. Number 4. Crepe Suzette. When? 1895. Who? Henry Charpentier. How? With a much contested origin, the crepes are a delicious dessert. The caramelized sugar and butter crepes were discovered by mistake, as the 14-year-old waiter, Henry Charpentier, was serving the Prince of Wales at Café de Paris in Monte Carlo. Charpentier allegedly burnt the sugar and the butter used for the sauce, and it seems like the Prince of Wales loved the new sauce so much that he wanted to call the crepes after his dinner companion, a French woman named Suzette. So there you go. Someone burns some sugar and you have a worldwide famous dessert named after yourself. Number 5. Cheese puffs. When? 1930s. Who? Flakes Company. Edward Wilson. How? Back in the 30s, the Flakes Company was using flaking machines to break down their livestock feed, and the orange puffs were nothing but moistened corn kernels used to prevent the machines from clogging. A very much inspired Edward Wilson decided to take the puffs home and give them the seasoned taste we know today by adding oil and seasoning, and so the cheese puffs were invented. They were first known under the name of corn curls. Number 6. The sandwich. When? 1700s. Who? John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich. How? Not necessarily by mistake, the sandwich was discovered or invented by the 4th Earl of Sandwich, John Montagu. While playing cards, Montagu asked his servant to bring him a piece of meat between 2 slices of bread, as he couldn't leave the game. He later thought that this particular kind of food can be very comfy and useful, without requiring an effort of sitting down to properly dine. Other stories say that Montagu was up all night working, and he wanted to eat something without too much trouble. But either way, the Earl of Sandwich was too lazy to get up, and thanks to that, we have the best culinary item in the world. Number 7. Chocolate chip cookies. When? 1930. Who? Ruth Graves Wakefield. How? Imagine you're making some cookies and you're out of cocoa. What would you do? You would add some chocolate, right? That's what Ruth Graves, the owner of Toll House Inn in Massachusetts, thought as well. She smashed a bar of Nestle chocolate into the cookie dough, hoping that the chocolate would melt. It didn't, so the inn became famous for the Ruth's delicious and accidental chocolate chip cookies. Nestle became aware of this amazing discovery, so the company placed Wakefield's recipe on their chocolate bar wrappers. In 1997, Massachusetts named the chocolate chip cookie their official state cookie. Number 8. Popsicles. When? 1905. Who? Frank Epperson. How? As a kid, you don't pay too much attention of where you leave your soda, and that's what 11-year-old Frank did. The boy left a glass of soda on his front porch with a steering stick in it. As it was very cold that night, the drink froze, and when Epperson tried to take the stick out of the cup, the whole frozen mixture came out as well. He first called it Epsicle. Years later, his kids called the frozen Epsicle Popsicle, so he changed the name into the famous Popsicle we know today. In 1923, he sold his company, and now Popsicles are a summery, refreshing dessert everyone loves. Number 9. Crisps. When? 1853. Who? George Crumb. How? When you're a cook, a lot of things can go wrong, or surprisingly, right, as we've seen before. And in this case of Chef George Crumb, who was working at Saratoga Springs Moon Lake House. Annoyed that a customer complained that his chips were too thick and sent them back, Crumb decided to take his revenge and slice the potatoes as thin as he could. He added salt, fried them, and served them to a customer. Amazingly, the customer absolutely loved them, and this is how the crisps were born. It seems like complaints are sometimes for the best. Number 10. Worcestershire sauce. When? 1930. Who? John Wheely Leah and William Henry Perrins. How? A very craving Lord Marcus Sandy returned to England wanting to eat his favorite Indian sauce. He sent chemist John Leah and William Perrins to recreate the taste, but it seems like the chemists didn't do so good because the sauce was inedible. Leah and Perrins stored away the sauce for a couple of years, and when they tasted it again, it was incredibly delicious. The aging period improved the flavor, and the sauce became the famous Worcestershire sauce we know today. What an interesting video, don't you think? We're going to be back to our regular luxurious videos soon. Till then, we're curious to know, did you ever invent a type of food that turned out to exist already? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another video. We also handpick these videos which we recommend you watch next. If you're bored, you might want to check out our website, Alux.com, for great articles or our Instagram or Facebook page. Thank you for being an Aluxer.